Men don't come up and ask or talk to you anymore.
Maybe we should have a man on and ask him what that's like. Why don't they do that?
Serious question for my mans out there. Why are you guys not approaching women? What is that about? What is that about? I have seen so many hot guys lately, and we make eyes, we exchange the look, we have the look, and then there's nothing else. I'm like, are you gonna come approach me? Hello, I don't wanna be the one to approach you, okay?
You know, my brother was telling me about how in the gym, guys don't really approach girls, which, good. Don't approach me. Don't talk to me. Thank you.
Please, it is okay to approach a Latina at the bar. It is okay.
We will talk to you.
We will talk to you. It is okay. I promise. It is okay. Please approach us. We are all one. We are begging.
We're begging.
We're on our hands and knees. Please approach us.
This one starts with curiosity but quickly turns into entitlement. She's seen hot guys, exchanged looks, and expects them to cross the room because... Why? Because she's hot? Because that's how it should be. She's not considering that those hot guys might be doing exactly what millions of other men are doing in 2026. Running a quick risk assessment. Approach anxiety isn't new, but it's skyrocketed. Studies from 2025 show around 44% of single men fear being labeled creepy just for initiating, and surveys peg it higher in some groups, with up to 80% of men saying fear of rejection or misinterpretation makes them hesitate. Rejection used to be private. Now one bad interaction can end up on TikTok, screenshotted or worse, twisted into a harassment claim. Men aren't hiding because they're weak. They're calculating that the potential downside outweighs the upside when the cultural message for years has been, don't approach unless it's perfect conditions. And no, eye contact isn't a universal green light. Plenty of women give it then shut down hard when a guy actually acts on it. One breath she's grateful guys aren't approaching at the gym, a place where women have repeatedly said, don't talk to me. Then, begging at the bar. This is the mixed messaging men get bombarded with. Approach equals good in some spots, creepy in others, but the rules change by venue, mood, and who's telling the story. A small minority of loud voices online have screamed for years that cold approaches are intrusive, especially from average guys. Now that men have listened and stepped back, the same women are shocked and pleading. It's not begging if it's conditional, it's begging only from the men you deem worthy. The rest, still, don't approach me. Men aren't mind readers. They've just opted for the path of least resistance. No approach, no risk of being the villain.
Sydney boys, I just have one question for you. What are you all doing on night outs? Because I went to a gig today, and in line, I heard this same conversation from girls in different age groups being like, I'm better off without him, he couldn't do this, he couldn't do that. And I'm like, surely it can't be this bad, right?
This ties into the broader complaint. Men aren't pursuing with effort anymore, but flip it, what are women offering in return? If the default narrative in groups is trashing exes or potential partners for not meeting sky-high standards, why would men invest effort? Pursuit used to mean risk for reward, but now the reward is often mediocrity or drama. Many men see the pattern, approach, invest, get ghosted, breadcrumbed, or friend-zoned for someone better. So they stop. It's not laziness, it's self-preservation.
What happened to men pursuing girls? When was the pivotal moment that a man chose to not go after a girl anymore or put in any effort? It seems like guys can just put the bare minimum and not even really put in effort anymore. They don't really care to. Or they're like, why don't girls just go and make the first move and make the effort? When did it become a thing? Now it's like role reversal where they expect girls to be making the first moves, yearning for a guy and chasing him. That is, I feel like, the downfall of why it's so hard to meet someone, because men don't put in effort.
This is projection at its finest. She's complaining about bare minimum while ignoring how women have raised the bar to impossible levels, demanding pursuit, provision, emotional labor, all while offering less reciprocity. Role reversal. Men aren't demanding women chase. They're just not chasing anymore because the game feels rigged. Pivotal moment. Try years of #MeToo expansions, viral creep callouts, and advice columns saying, leave men alone unless he approaches perfectly. Men adapted. Now women feel the pinch and blame men for not playing the old role.
Women always ask me, what happened to men today? Great question. What started out as a good thing, encouraging men to respect women, has swung way too far in the opposite direction. Now, a lot of men are terrified of women, so they wait for perfect conditions before making a move. But courage doesn't exist without risk, and women can't respect men who don't risk anything. So as a man, if you want to be seen as confident, you've got to be willing to look stupid, to get rejected, to be misunderstood. So start by taking small risks. Approach women when you're out and about. Initiate plans with them. You'd be surprised how fast it'll work. Because women nowadays, they're not turned off by that kind of effort. They're starving for it.
My man has, you know, the balls that he has, and he's not afraid to come up to me and say something, say hello. So if you're a man out there, you know, you guys have balls for a reason. Use them. And don't be afraid to approach women, because we don't want to do that, you know? This is just a pro tip, okay? Chime in.
Ah, the classic real men shaming. This implies men who don't approach lack masculinity. But courage without risk is meaningless. And right now the risk is stacked. Social humiliation, false accusations, or just wasted time. Women say we don't want to approach because historically they haven't had to. But now that men have pulled back, the expectation remains one-sided. True equality would mean women sharing the risk, but that's rare.
This is a public service announcement for white men. It is okay to approach a Latina at the bar.
That part. Yep.
It is okay to like a Latina. We are equals. We are pretty people. We are also equal to the blondes at the bar.
Even better.
Even better, maybe. I don't wanna perhaps.
Don't quote me on it, but.
We're gonna run some tests. I move around different spots. Not on my phone, making eye contact. Hell, I even smile at a man, okay? And what do I get? Nothing. Nada. No meet cute. And it baffles me because Sydney has some really attractive women. Guys, please, for the love of future generations, grow a pair of balls and just come say hello.
Tests, smiling, and eye contact aren't invitations. They're ambiguous signals men have been burned on before. Grow a pair ignores that men are acting rationally in a low-reward, high-risk environment. If attractive women are truly getting nagey, maybe reflect on the signals sent over years that discouraged exactly this.
Did you know that 78% of men don't approach women anymore? Here's why that's your advantage. Fear of rejection, fear of looking awkward or desperate, which means if you're the one guy who walks up, introduces himself, and could hold a conversation, you're not competing with anyone. So no, hot girls are not used to being approached. In fact, they are waiting on it. Comment approach for my comprehensive guide on how to master the approach like a natural.
Some women don't get asked out. Even when they're pretty and smart and have their whole life together. And a lot of people don't know this, but it has nothing to do with your value. Sometimes high value women, because that's what we are, get approached the least. And let me tell you why. First, you give off, I'm good energy. You walk like you handle your own life. Men see that and think, well, she don't need me. Second, men are scared of rejection, like terrified. So if you look too put together, they assume you already got options, even when you don't. Third, you might look unapproachable without meaning to. Not in a rude way, just your face, your pace, your focus. Men only approach women who look relaxed and open. Fourth, a lot of men think you're already taken. Pretty women hear this all the time. I thought you had a man. So then they don't even try. And fifth, you may not be in spaces that make conversation easy. If your life is work, home, errands, and then work again, you won't cross paths with men who naturally start talking to you. But here's the truth. You can be beautiful, healed, kind, funny, and high value and still not get approached. It's not you. It's the perception of you. Men approach women who feel safe and easy to talk to. Not always the best women. So don't overthink it. You're not the problem. Your energy is just strong. The right man won't be scared of that.
This is the closest to self-awareness, listing real factors like strong energy or seeming taken, but it still externalizes. It's not you, it's perception/men. Reality check. Perception is reality in dating. If men see unapproachable or don't need me, they walk. High value doesn't entitle approaches if the vibe screams, don't bother, and the right man won't be scared. That's cope. Most men aren't approaching anyone anymore, period, because the overall climate punishes initiative. Stats show a dating recession. Only approximately 30% of young adults actively dating. 64 to 74% barely dating last year. Men aren't scared of strong women specifically. They're opting out entirely.
I was speaking to my mum about dating, and because I'm out a lot for work and things like that, and I love to socialize, she was like, oh, like, have you met anyone out? And I'm like, well, I will see a guy that, say, like, I've texted or, like, met online or have mutuals with, and he will, like, look at me and then turn away and then message saying, like, hey, you looked gorgeous today. And that's, like, a universal experience for every girl. Like, guys will just text you later on. And mum's like, what the fuck? Like, mum's like, when I would go out, if a guy was interested, he'd straight up go, like, hey, I'm interested in you, like, whatever, what's your number? And if you liked him, you'd give him your real one. If you didn't, you'd change one digit. That's what she said to me. My mum did make a point that I go for socially awkward private school boys that don't know how to talk to girls because I went to single sex schools, so that's a big factor too. But, like, I took it upon myself to call my guy friend and literally ask for the answers. I'm like, just tell me, like, what is stopping guys from just, like, approaching girls naturally and not, like, sleazy, just, like, literally for a conversation? Because guys that, like, do that, like, reap the benefits anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't need to be a sleaze to, like, pull a girl in the first place. My guy friend said, unless a girl is, like, making it that obvious, like at a pub, for example, that she's into him, he's like, she has to fully be, like, waving at me for me to think to go over. And he said that rejection just isn't worth it these days because that girls, like, have higher standards of men, so guys genuinely feel like they just aren't good enough and to go up and introduce themselves. And I'm like, that's actually kind of sad because I do feel like girls are getting judgier, but I also feel like boys are the same. And I think it goes down to dating apps and social media, obviously. But dating apps is like shopping, like no, yes, no. So it's like people are getting pickier, but yeah, it's like people don't know how to socialize anymore, and it's really sad. I saw on TikTok a card game that someone invented called We Met at a Bar. I don't know if you've seen it, but it actually looks like a cool idea, and they should collab with different pubs in Melbourne and just, like, have the card game sitting at, like, different tables or something. I feel like that'd be so good. Pretty much, I think it was like they had, like, different not dares, but, like, I don't know, you have to look it up, but it's called We Met at a Bar, and, like, it introduces conversation, like, yeah, I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, I just feel like there's got to be a way to just, like, improve everything about the dating culture, otherwise we're doomed.
Look, this one is actually one of the more self-aware clips out there. She talks to her guy friend. Here's the real reasons. Fear of rejection not being worth it, higher standards making men feel inadequate, and even calls it kind of sad. But then she pivots to blaming apps, social media, making everyone pickier and people forgetting how to socialize, like it's some neutral cultural drift. No, it's not symmetric. Dating apps turned mate selection into a literal swipe marketplace, where women get flooded with options and can be hyper-selective, rating 80% of men as below average in attractiveness studies that have been around for years. Men get maybe a handful of matches after swiping endlessly, so the incentive to risk real-world rejection drops to near zero when the digital alternative, even if it's low reward, feels safer. Her guy friend nailed it. Unless she's waving him down, it's not worth the gamble. And why? Because a simple, "Hey, you look gorgeous in person," could get labeled creepy, posted online for mockery, or worse, misread as harassment in today's climate. The universal experience of guys staring then DMing later. That's men adapting. They spot interest, mutuals, eye contact, but choose the low-risk channel, text, to avoid public humiliation. She's right that it's sad people don't socialize naturally anymore, but pinning it on both sides ignores how women's side amplified the pickiness and judgment. Via apps and social media echo chambers, calling normal approaches sleazy unless the guy is top tier. Men aren't the ones who turned dating into shopping. They just stopped showing up to the store when the prices got unrealistic, and that card game, "we met at a bar," it's a cute band-aid for a bar scene that's already alcohol-fueled, and not exactly natural conversation anyway. If women want real approaches back, the fix starts with toning down the collective judgment and making rejection low stakes again, not inventing games to force interaction.
This is literally the point of the love list. Single men don't go up to women anymore. The girl in this article is quoted saying that she thinks she's essentially too pretty and it's too intimidating to men. If you're a guy or a girl and you're too scared to go up to someone else because you potentially may be rejected, are you also like that in your business life? Are you also like that with friends? If you are that scared of rejection, I struggle to think that you will be able to be successful in anything you do in your life, because rejection is always part of the process. Until you switch your mindset, how are you ever going to expect to meet someone? Every time you think of going up to someone, remind yourself that that could be the person. So if you don't go up to them, you'll never know.
This is classic motivational tough love flipped at men, comparing romantic approach, fear to business or friendship rejection. But it's apples to oranges. When in business, rejection might cost a deal, but rarely gets you publicly shamed, accused of being predatory, or filmed for viral takedowns. Friendship rejection doesn't carry the same gendered risk. Men aren't called creeps for asking another guy to hang out. The stakes in approaching women today are uniquely high because of the cultural shift. Post-Me Too awareness, good in intent, got weaponized into broad suspicion of any unsolicited male interest. Surveys from 2025 to 2026 show 44% of single men cite fear of being labeled creepy as a major deterrent to initiating contact, nearly half. That's not just scared of rejection, that's calculated risk avoidance in an environment where one wrong read can tank your reputation. And the too pretty/intimidating excuse from that article, it's cope. If a woman is truly that attractive, plenty of high-value men still approach. But average guys self-select out because they know the odds are stacked. This woman's advice, switch your mindset, sounds empowering but ignores why men changed theirs in the first place. Repeated signals that approaches are unwanted unless crystal clear IO is or the guy is elite. Telling men to just get over it while ignoring the systemic discouragement is like telling someone to swim in shark-infested waters because rejection is part of the process. Men are switching mindsets, all right, toward opting out for peace, hobbies, friends, or even going overseas where dynamics feel less hostile. That's not weakness, that's self-preservation.
Honestly, in this day and age, shame on the women who shit on guys who actually try respectfully to like get your number or like approach you or like just hit on you in general in like a public setting. Extra bonus points if it's not a fucking bar or an atmosphere that involves alcohol. Like, everyone goes like, ew, like that guy like came up to me like, what a weirdo. Like, they literally need to be encouraged to do that. Like, no one does it anymore. I love when men will like shit on like girls who go out in bars and stuff and stuff like that or whatever. But like, where are you gonna find your husband on Hinge? At the grocery store? They are not fucking approaching you there. Swear to God, whenever someone approaches me, specifically not in a bar setting, I have the utmost respect. Even if I don't find them attractive, I'll give them a number regardless or conversate with them regardless because it's like so admirable in this day and age to actually have the nerve and the kahunas to go and do that. So stop shitting on them because we need that.
Finally, a woman calling out the problem directly. Shame on those who trash respectful approaches. She's spot on. The loud, "you weirdo" reactions from some women, often amplified online, have chilled the entire scene. Men see those stories go viral and think, why risk that for a 10-second chat? She even gives her number sometimes just to reward the effort. Rare, but it shows what encouragement looks like. But notice how she still frames it as men needing nerve and kahunas like it's 1950, while ignoring why that nerve evaporated. A vocal subset of women turned polite approaches into potential scandals. Bonus points for non-bar approaches, sure, but the grocery store example cuts both ways. Women complain men don't approach there, yet if a guy does, it's often creepy because it's not a designated spot like a bar. The inconsistency is glaring. She wants men to step up, but the fix isn't just men having kahunas. It's women collectively stopping the shaming and rewarding effort with basic politeness. Until the ego stompers get called out more, like she does here, men will keep choosing the path of least resistance. No approach, no drama, no false harassment claims.
I see these girls when men do approach them, and if they don't think they're cute, these girls are so mean sometimes. And I'm not saying you have to give your number out to every man that approaches you, but if you want men to be more comfortable going up to women, at least be nice, give them the time of day for like 0.7 seconds before letting the conversation die down, and boost the morale, boost the collective, because it's a systemic issue of men not having the confidence to go up to women anymore. But I don't blame them, because when they finally have the courage to, their ego gets stomped, which I'm not above stomping some man egos around here, but like, it's just not always warranted. You can be nice.
This one's even closer to the truth. She admits some women are so mean, stomping egos unnecessarily, and that it's systemic. She doesn't blame men for backing off, because the rare approach often ends in humiliation. Yet she casually says, "I'm not above stomping some man egos." That's part of the problem right there. Even well-intentioned women sometimes indulge in it, thinking it's harmless filtering, but it adds to the collective damage. One rude rejection gets shared, men see it, and multiply that by thousands of stories online. Result, confidence craters. Stats show only about 1 in 3 young men feel comfortable approaching anyone they're interested in, down big time from past generations. She's right, a quick, polite, "thanks but no thanks," costs nothing and preserves morale. But the entitlement sneaks in with, "if you want men to be more comfortable," shifting the burden back to men to keep trying despite the hostility. No, if women want approaches, the onus is on the group to make it safe and rewarding again. Be nice, don't broadcast rejections for clout, and stop treating average guys like creeps for shooting a shot. Men aren't owed numbers, but basic human decency isn't too much to ask. Until that changes, expect more guys to stay in their lane, happier, less stressed, and not playing a game rigged against them. In 2026, we're in a full-blown dating recession. Only about 30% of young adults actively dating, 60 to 63% is of men under 30 single, and many not even looking. Approach anxiety hitting nearly half of men due to creepy fears. Women complain about no approaches, but the data and stories show it's a direct response to mixed signals, high standards, and social penalties. Men aren't broken, they're adapted. If things are doomed, it's because the incentives got flipped, not because guys suddenly forgot how to talk to women.